All right, guys. So this is what we're gonna do. So on a previous episode or clip or recording of the podcast, I was basically talking about how the way red people argue, and I found a clip that basically perfectly describes what I was talking about. I'm gonna break it down and why over time they just start kind of contradicting themselves. And I also have to give credit to Sam because this is something he also talked about. So let's just continue. Let's go.
As a matter of fact, are just generally untrue.
So they're talking about how Andrew Tate basically said that women are bad drivers compared to men. Hassan is basically arguing against it. And let's continue.
There's no empirical evidence to back up those claims, which is why you resort to anecdotes quite frequently and say things like, oh, well, it's just common sense, right? But it's not technically common sense. It's just your personal opinion.
Completely. It's my personal opinion based on my personal biases of my life experience. And when I say, exactly. And when I say these things, X amount of people agree with me and X amount of people disagree with me.
Okay, so this is where it all starts breaking down, and this is what I'm kind of wanted to talk about, right? What Andrew's talking about is something that in the red pill community they constantly give shish to women about, and is their own experiences, right? A woman will come into the podcast and she will talk about how, let's just say, men are just going out of control cheating, right? And they'll be like, well, the evidence shows that's not the case, that men and women cheat about the same rate, right? Women will go into the podcast and talk about how they will go into the podcast and they will try to give data that women leave relationships more than men, and men tend to stay. They will show all the statistics. They just drop them with statistics, and it's like your facts don't care about your feelings. They will say your anecdotal experience doesn't matter. Here is Hassan showing evidence to why his opinion that women are worse drivers than men. And Andrew is resorting to, well, this is my personal opinion from what I have experienced. This is what happens. And this is where this whole conversation with the red pill people breaks down. Because this is what tends to happen. This is how they argue. They will hit you with some facts, right? They will hit you with let's just throw something out there. They will hit you with some reality. They will be like, well, the more valuable a man is, the more women want to be with him. Women like men that are successful, stable, etc. They will hit you with something that is concrete, that is a fact. And then they will try to sneak in this freaking like weird opinion-based logic that completely contradicts their whole facts don't care about your feelings type of thing. So like, let me continue, right? Too bad I couldn't think of a better.
That's fine, and that's the same of nearly any statement in the world.
Okay,
I
but
can say the world is round, and there'll be a percentage of people who disagree with me. That's totally and utterly fine. I come on here and talk about my own personal experiences, and my experiences, men are better drivers than women. I'm not saying there's no good female.
See, this is what I mean. From his experiences. But when they're in the podcast, when they're Fresh and Fit podcast, arguing left and right, and a woman will be like, well, from my experience, this is what I experienced. They'll hit them with like, oh, cap, the stats, the statistics, this is what they show. And it breaks down because at the end of the day, all these dudes, feminists and them, they're all the same shish in the different side of the fence, right? Like they're all basically the same. Once they have more things in common than they actually think.
Drivers, mostly female.
No. You're understanding what I'm saying. There is a truth, and then there is your own personal experiences backed by anecdotes, right? Or your own personal opinion backed by anecdotes from your own personal experiences. Now, your own personal experiences are oftentimes going to be incorrect and not close to the reality. That's why there's an entire field of statistical analysis. That's why we do empirical. That's why we rely on empirical evidence when we're making decisions. Why? Because we all carry a bunch of personal biases. And when we analyze situations, we do not have enough scope to grasp the entirety of the situation. We cannot comprehend it with our human brains.
Bro, listen,
which is why when it comes to women driving, it's a funny point because the truth is different. The truth is the exact opposite.
No. Listen.
Yeah, and I'll also say this. Like, look, it's a funny thing to say, right? Like, oh, women are horrible drivers. Like, there's these memes going around. They're the memes, right? I don't know if you've actually seen them on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, where you have like, oh, what would happen if females would start driving? Like, all the cars are perfectly driving. No one stops. We don't need signs. We don't need red lights, green lights. It doesn't matter. Everyone is just moving perfectly. It's just harmony, right? That's the joke. It's a funny thing to say, But in reality, there is a reason why men get charged more for insurance. There's a reason why the combination of a sports car and a man doesn't is not a good, it doesn't bode well for you if you're looking for insurance because they're going to charge you up the ass because they know that if you're a man and you get a sports car, you're going to do something stupid.
There's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics. I'm sure you've heard that from Mark Twain. That's the first thing.
And just to clarify, they know you're going to do something stupid, so obviously they're going to charge you more because, well, it would be dumb of them to charge women less if they were more of a risk. It's an insurance company. They really don't care about your feelings. They only care about the money they're going to make. All right.
Second thing is that you're deriving.
You can massage numbers, but
you're deriving your truth from an internet study. That's fine. You can derive your truth from an internet study on a bunch of different things. The truth of life is the truth that you experience as an individual. That is the only.
And Allison, I think I'm about to end this because you guys gotta get the point. The truth of life is what you derive from an individual. All right, then why are you? Then you go into this podcast and they're being super freaking corny with girls, trying to hit them with facts. It's like you've seen those podcasts. It's just corny as hell. It's like, well, you can think whatever you want, but the reality is this. And then they bring the facts and the statistics. And I'm just gonna let it play because at this point I'm just repeating myself.
The truth that we all live within. You live within your truth, I live within my truth because these are the truths I've experienced as an individual. It's certain things happen to you over and over and over and over and over again, but the truth on the internet says it's not true. That doesn't mean that your experiences are any less real. So if you come here and say the internet says X,
your experiences can be real. You can be a statistical anomaly, as a matter of fact. You can be one of those people, but more often than that,
I'll talk to you because I keep letting you talk and you're finishing your point and I'm trying to talk. So
okay, go ahead.
I'm going to. The fact that you're going on the internet, finding some study and saying that this is the truth, especially after the age of COVID and all the fucking truth we were told with that garbage, you want to sit here and say, oh, the internet said X. I'm sure the internet did. I'm talking about my personal experiences, and some people agree with me and some people do not.
But I wonder if a woman would make that argument in the podcast, how would it go? And I can tell you right now, it wouldn't go well, right? They will basically say, oh, Cab, or you're just denying the evidence. Like this whole truth. Oh, it's like, he's saying nothing right now.
Perfectly fine. Don't give a fuck if people agree with me or otherwise. People are listening to me and they're either agreeing
with me or
you're
still wrong, and that's the problem.
I disagree with you.
Do you want to be right, or do you want to keep speaking into a hug box where people agree with you? And then, if you just completely devalue empirical evidence, actuarial sciences, the entirety of the insurance industry that relies on making these sorts of calculations to ensure that these quotes are as profitable as possible, which ends up charging men higher rates than women, as a statistical likelihood that men are more dangerous drivers than women across the board and get into more car accidents across the board. If you're going to look at all of that and say it doesn't matter because that does not correspond to my own personal experiences, then you're silly. You're being silly. You're being a silly person. If everyone thought like you did, right, we would have no scientific achievements on this planet. We would still be living inside of fucking caves. As much as I love Liver King personally, I don't think that that would be a good planet to live on. I'm pretty happy for, all the medical achievements, all the scientific achievements that we have reached. And at the heart of all of that, all of those accomplishments lies an understanding of arriving at the truth through empirical evidence.
You done?
Yeah.
Cool. In my personal experiences,
I feel like I'm spending way too much time to
see here, and there he goes with this. In my personal experiences, this is what this red pill dude's always talking about.
All the negative experiences were full. That is,
because look at this. Just pay attention. Just peep this. Right? He keeps talking about from my personal experiences. If a woman were to go on one of his podcasts, the Fresh and Fit podcast, she will talk about, well, in my personal experiences, men are all cheaters. In my personal experiences, men take advantage of women and men abuse women, right? If someone were to go into one of his podcasts, and Kevin Samuels, and he would have said, from my personal experiences, men tend to control and abuse women left and right. And there was evidence to show otherwise. And you're showing this woman to this person, and she would have made the argument that Tate made. There was, well, from my experiences and the age of truth, and you cannot trust what you read on the internet and all this bullshit. She will be called out. The comment section will go off on her. The comment section will throw super chats, right? Making fun of her and how she's stupid and ignorant. And in reality, he's making the same exact case that she would. He's making the same exact argument that all the girls that go into this Fresh and Fit podcast make. That's what he's doing. It's the same exact argument.
Now you can sit here and say insurance claims say that. I never said insurance claims don't say that. I'm saying I am not comfortable with women driving because of my personal experience. Those are my personal experiences. You can drag out all the empirical evidence in the world you want to try and drag up. Anyone with a brain knows how that aids the world agendas anyway. I don't want to go too political on a stream that's going to get taken down. So I'm not saying that I can't find a female race car driver. I'm not saying that.
That's not what I'm saying either. I'm not talking about like statistical anomalies. I'm straight up talking about the overwhelming amount of evidence that suggests that women are more careful drivers than men. Okay, and therefore better drivers than men. You keep resorting back to your personal anecdotes.
Women. This is this is anecdotal. Here I am. Women tend to pick the cars that females tend to pick are not really meant for like races. They're kind of like meant. It's not anecdotal, but they tend to be like not vans, but they tend to be more like trucks. Not trucks. They don't tend to be like Honda Accord Sports or like Honda Civic Sports or like Mercedes or like Sport Mode and shit like that, right? They tend to just I don't know. They tend to like the cars are really like whack.
So let me walk you through this, right? Do you agree that human beings have biases?
Do me a favor.
Okay, but hey, I respected your time. Do you want to answer my question? Do you believe that human beings have biases?
Oh, absolutely, we're all biased.
Okay.
Completely.
Do you think that those biases might cloud your judgment?
It's not about clouding judgment.
Not just your personal cloud. Make arguments around. Wait, let me finish. Come on.
And what you're saying,
This is why we do that.
I'm not comfortable around Dalmatians. That's all human nature. So I'm telling you my personal experiences. I don't care. I understand your point. Empirical evidence says X. Women in this country can do X. I completely get that. But secondly, it's also a country. You're only talking about America because you're an American and you don't see outside of the world. That's fine.
I'm Turkish, actually. I grew up in Turkey.
That's not the point. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is I'm uncomfortable with women driving. And if you actually ask most women, if it gets late at night or it starts getting dark or it starts raining heavily or the parking gets difficult, they usually ask the man to drive themselves. I know many women who do that. I'm not offended by my assumption. I know loads of women go, oh, I don't want to park. You park it. Look, there's not a bad thing about it. Who gives a shit, right? It's not a big deal.
This is where like the red pill comes. Like, like women want a man to drive. It's like that's how they get you with the stupid ass points. It's like, okay, sure. I mean, but that doesn't mean that they're bad drivers or they can't see. I don't know. Like it's just dumb. I mean, look, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop it here because I think you guys get the point that I was trying to make. Red pill people this is how they tend to argue. They hit you with some facts that they can back up by statistics, and then they basically go based on opinion. That's basically what they do. Is everything they say after is completely just opinion and what they have experienced. And if a woman makes the same argument, it's a bunch of picking pushback, right? Like, facts don't care about your feelings, this hardcore stuff, red pill stuff, right? Like that's how they argue. And you can say whatever you want about Hassan, but in this case, Hassan is right in what he's talking about, and he has a fair point. Andrew just doesn't want to back out, right? That's his character. All right, so